Welcome back to the Bible study, and today we're going to study Leviticus chapter 2. I'm going to start reading in verse 1. When anyone offers a grain offering to the Lord, his offering shall be of fine flour, and he shall pour oil on it and put frankincense on it. Verse 2. He shall bring it to Aaron's sons, the priests, one of whom shall take from it his handful of fine flour and oil with all the frankincense, and the priest shall burn it as a memorial on the altar, an offering made by fire, a sweet aroma to the Lord. Now this grain offering was consisted of three things: fine ground up grain, frankincense, and oil. And the person wants God to be mindful of him. Now this offering is done because the person wants to do this, and it's not a requirement from God. And in some cases, it was a personal conviction. Verse 3 to 8. The rest of the grain offering shall be Aaron's and his sons. It is most holy of the offering to the Lord, made by fire. And if you bring as an offering a grain offering baked in the oven, it shall be unleavened cakes of fine flour mixed with oil, or unleavened wafers anointed with oil. But if your offering is a grain offering baked in a pan, it shall be of fine flour unleavened mixed with oil. You shall break it in pieces and pour oil on it. It is a grain offering. If your offering is a grain offering baked in a covered pan, it shall be made of fine flour with oil. You shall bring the grain offering that is made of these things to the Lord. And when it is presented to the priest, he shall bring it to the altar. Before we go on, I just want to say, when we make an offering, are we asking God to be in our life? That's a question we need to ask ourselves. All worship should be done to the holiness of God and never reflecting the world. It always should be a pleasing fragrance unto the Lord. Verse 9 to 13. Then the priest shall take from the grain offering a memorial portion and burn it on the altar. It is an offering made by fire, a sweet aroma to the Lord. And what is left of the grain offering shall be Aaron's and his sons. It is most holy of the offerings to the Lord made by fire. No grain offering which you bring to the Lord shall be made with leaven, for you shall burn no leaven, nor any honey in any offering to the Lord made by fire. As for the offering of the first fruits, you shall offer them to the Lord, but they shall not be burned on the altar for a sweet aroma. And every offering of your grain offering you shall season with salt. You shall not allow the salt of the covenant of your God to be lacking from your grain offering. With all your offerings you shall offer salt. So leaven is, in reality, it's yeast. And the leaven, or the swelling up, is related to pride. And the honey is sweet and related to what we desire in the flesh. Verse 14 to 16. If you offer a grain offering of your first fruits to the Lord, you shall offer for the grain offering of your first fruits green heads of grain roasted on the fire, grain beaten from all heads. And you shall put oil on it, and lay frankincense on it. It is a grain offering. Then the priest shall burn the memorial portion, part of its beaten grain and parts of its oil, with all the frankincense, as an offering made by fire to the Lord. In the Hebrew Bible, it mentions in this chapter the time of Aviv, which is springtime. So we can see principles in this chapter on how they worshipped God. Let's face it, a person who loves God would want to bring change in his life. I hope you all enjoyed this study. Thank you for joining me today, and God bless you all until the next time.